Last time. Back to page 72. In our text, let me give a quick run through for people who may be looking at this for the first time. What are all the engines flying by? Is that a helicopter? Somehow there's lots and lots of noise. Yeah. Trucks come, yeah, interesting. Ordinarily, it's very tranquil here on the Gold Coast. Today, maybe they were waiting for us to start our lecture and coordinated all the noise. So they wanted people in Berkeley to know we're proud, we're here. Pay attention to us. What are we doing? We're looking at the career of a bodhisattva, an awakened being, someone who has been on a crash course for bodhisattvahood called the 10 Stages, the 10 Grounds chapter. This is profound instructions. It's a how to practice as a bodhisattva from A to Z, all the way actually to the next step before Buddhahood. And we have been progressively moving through week by week by week, chapter by chapter, stage by stage, ground by ground, to the 9th. And our bodhisattva here in the 9th stage, the 9th ground, he's called a Da Fa Shi. He's a massive Dharma teacher. It's not talking about his girth or his weight or her weight. It's talking about his wisdom, her wisdom. Da Fa Shi, a big Dharma teacher, a master of Dharmas, is somebody who can explain. He can explain why you're feeling depressed and what to do about it. The Da Fa Shi can explain why that relationship went sour and whether it can be saved, or how to look at it that makes sense and becomes important step in personal growth, right? So the bodhisattva is a great one for finding the silver lining. Could have been worse, says the bodhisattva a lot. Have you ever considered how bad it could have been and how lucky you are that it wasn't worse? Oh, I never thought that way. So most of all, the bodhisattva is good at finding the roots that produce the branch tips that we experience. We see the branches. We count the leaves. We get upset. We cling to a leaf that we like and reject the leaves we don't like. The bodhisattva traces the leaves back to the branch tips, back to the bigger branches, back to the limbs, back to the trunk, back to the roots. It says, see where it came from? See why it happened? Why those leaves look the way they did? Then he puts the roots into the ground and shows the cycle of coming into being, abiding, decaying, vanishing, and returning of the ground that holds the roots that grew the tree that produced the leaves that we love and hate. And that's called wisdom, right? Seeing the principle. Bodhisattva points to the principle and connects it to the specifics. And he's good at that. Oh boy, he's about to be a graduate from this program before long. This is the 10 Stages Education, the Bodhisattva's Academy of how to do it. And we have come, I'm astonished that we've made it to the 9th stage. Furthermore, it's pretty wonderful. It's pretty astonishing that we have made it together. Oops, I've been talking away and Berkeley has gone. What has happened? Is your camera still there? You're okay. Okay. Good, good. I can't see you. Why not? Let's see here. View everyone. Good. View presenter. Okay, there you go. Hi there. Good. We're back. All right. I was in the middle of praising the Bodhisattva and praising us for getting to the 9th stage. I never thought we would. I remember consciously making the wish, someday I would like to explain the 10 Diping, the 10 stages, but how hard is that? It's really hard. How difficult is it to, and what an inflated opinion of yourself you must have that you think you could actually explain it and guide people through it. And we said, why not? That's what we're there for. The Berkeley Buddhist Monastery could have the name, the Fojiao Jiangtang, the Buddhist Lecture Hall. We could have taken that name over. The Buddhist Lecture Hall in San Francisco is gone. That was Shifu's first, Master Xuanhua's first open teaching center in America, and his first open teaching center in Hong Kong as well. Xianggang Fojiao Jiangtang is the Hong Kong Buddhist Lecture Hall. The San Francisco Buddhist Lecture Hall became Gold Mountain Monastery, became City of 10,000 Buddhas. And we elected instead to call ourselves the Institute for World Religions, which was a project that began at City of 10,000 Buddhas. And then when Paul Cardinal Yubin, the Catholic Cardinal of China, passed away in the Vatican during the voting for the next Pope, we took the plans for him to be the director of the Institute for World Religions at CTDB stopped. And a few years later, reconnected in Berkeley. So we took the name Institute for World Religions. But it could have easily, given our mission, it could have easily have been the Buddhist Lecture Hall. So it's the Buddhist Lecture Hall at the Institute for World Religions. Someday, maybe. So we became instead the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery. And we're here explaining texts, Tagali. So that's our preface. That's where we are. That's where we begin tonight. And if you all could turn to page 72, I'm going to start right here. You can all see that window, that piece of text. 夫次法无爱智，知一乘平等性, that one. Okay, everybody found it? Let's read it together. We won't do sequential reading, call and response, because of the distance involved between Australia and Berkeley. So here we go. 夫次法无爱智，知一乘平等性。亦无爱智，知诸乘差别性。此无爱智，说一切乘无差别。乐说无爱智，说一一乘无变法。Here we go. How's your Mandarin? Ready? How's your English? Here we go. Moreover, with the unobstructed wisdom of dharmas, he knows the impartial nature of the one vehicle. With the unobstructed wisdom of meanings, he knows the different nature of all vehicles. With the unobstructed wisdom of phrasing, he explains how all vehicles are not different. With the unobstructed wisdom of delight in speaking, he expresses the boundless dharmas of each vehicle. Vehicles. Fords, Chevys, Land Rovers. It could be. Great vehicles, buses, right? Minivans. RVs. It could definitely be an RV as long as you could put a lot of living beings in there. Kind of vehicles like that, but that's not specifically what we're talking about. Here's what we're talking about. I have gone back, and if we could shift to that text that I sent, okay, the one that says the career arc. I wanted to step back because last week Jin Fo Shi and Jin Chuan Shi turned the Dharma wheel and explained the sutras for us. I don't want people to lose the thread of our argument, of our principles here, because it's good. The career arc of a great Dharma master is in these 10 eloquences. The bodhisattva, he, and let's just show you. It could be she, it could be he. Pronoun, up to you. He is now using everything he learned along the path, track in Australia, the track of the 8 prior stages, now to share with others and explain it so they can understand. The bodhisattva is teaching everything he's learned. And there's much in the way of self-help methods, techniques. The Chinese call them faman, Dharma gateways to the Dharma. Good advice, encouragement, warnings, pleadings, inspirations, good words, bon mot, sayings. There's, in the 10 stages, there's even heritage learning, kind of community knowledge included in it. It also has its own, you can see an Indian flavor, Indian Buddhist, the Indian, that is to say, the Buddha's time and space, Shakyamuni Buddha's religious context is visible in the 10 stages chapter. Nobody says much. The Avatamsaka Sutra was written by the Chinese. You don't hear that much. They say that about the Shurangama and about other texts, but not in this text. So, what I want to do right now with everybody is go through the 4 kinds of unobstructed wisdom, substitute eloquence right there, ELOQUENCE/wisdom, that we have studied so far, because I want you to see the thread, see the sequence, all right? As I said, this bodhisattva is using everything he's learned so far, she's learned so far, to do what? To teach it, to share it. He's learning it to give it. Being a Dafa Shi, a great Dharma teacher, master, is his job. Talking, explaining is central, is critical, is crucial to the bodhisattva being a bodhisattva and what he, she understands as what they're supposed to be doing. They learn it to share it. They study it to give it. Okay? They absorb it to infuse it. How do they do it? Here we go. Number 1, and we're reviewing, right? We were here weeks ago. We're going back. We're going to pick up to where we are today. This bodhisattva constantly develops the 4 kinds of unobstructed eloquence, wisdom. It's zhi in Chinese, but in other texts, these are called 辩才无碍, unobstructed eloquence. And he never renounces them for an instant. What are they? They are, look at the bold text, unobstructed wisdom of dharmas, unobstructed wisdom of explaining meanings, unobstructed wisdom in phrasing, and the unobstructed wisdom of delighting in speaking. These are known as four kinds of unobstructed eloquence. 无碍辩才，辩才无碍. Here they're called wisdom. Fine. The bodhisattva uses these to explain the Dharma. Number two, and where was it? Let me review. I'm going to flip right back to our text here. Number two was back here on page. I'm copying and reintroducing us. It's on page 69 is where we first met these four kinds, right? The paragraph we just read is there on 69. The next one. Here's the next section of eloquences. There will be 10 of them because the Avatamsaka does tens. That's how it presents its knowledge. The teaching of totality. First one, this bodhisattva, with unobstructed wisdom of Dharma or Dharmas, it could be Dharma teaching or Dharma phenomenon, knows 诸法自相, all dharmas inherent, let's see, unity, let's see, sorry, Sam, I'm going to change it here. He knows the inner, that's a mistake, that's typo, sorry, one more time here. He knows dharma's nature's appearances, characteristics, or attributes. It's xiang. Sorry, my mistake. Attributes. There we go. Okay, this bodhisattva has the unobstructed wisdom of Dharma, and what does he do? He is able to look at the unifying features, unified, let's see, try again. He knows Dharma's, one more time, inner appearances. There we go. The difference here is the first one is inner, second one is outer. That's the difference. So, 自相 and 别相. He knows when he looks at the world outside, he relates it back to his own mind, which is now clean and clear and unclouded and not murky and not foggy and not emotionally complex. And you have to understand him. No, his mind is like a perfect mirror now because he's in the 9th stage. He's been working hard on his meditation. And so the 自相, the inherent appearance of all things, is clear to him. He knows it. The verb here every time is 知, right? He uses the unobstructed wisdom of dharmas to 知. He himself recognizes those. That's number one. Number two here, second kind of eloquence, he knows dharma's outer specific character. Their uniformity. Second one, he sees their distinctions of all things, no matter whether it's foreign language, whether it's some political shenanigans, whether it's weather patterns, the appropriate seasoning on food, right? All those things. The Bodhisattva is clear about them because he has the unobstructed wisdom of meanings, and he can explain them. Okay, you still with me? This is pretty neat. Imagine if you were the teacher, if you had a seminar, if you were a mom and you were trying to explain it to your kids so they would get it and stop being obnoxious. If you had this knowledge, you could say it just right. Unobstructed wisdom of phrasing, the bodhisattva, she, he, never speaks incorrectly. It's always right. 无错牛说. Always right. Right? Wow. Last one, Le Shuo, and each one of these four ends with the fourth one, which is so neat because this bodhisattva is just thrilled to have this tool of language. Teaches without cease. 无断尽说. Okay, that's number 2. Okay, how are we doing? Isn't this neat? Okay, third one, moving along here. The Chinese, I didn't copy the Chinese in every case. So I did bold the ones that I wanted to point out because we're covering it again. We're reviewing, right? Unobstructed wisdom of dharmas, number 1. So it's always fa, yi, ci, le, shuo. Those are the 4. Dharmas meaning phrasing and joy in the magic of speech. So first one, knows inherent nature of all dharmas. Sounds familiar? 2, with meanings, he knows how everything comes into being and how it goes apart. He can explain it to you. So you go, oh, that's where that came from. I thought it was something else, right? So this bodhisattva's paying attention to stuff. And there's a clock ticking on our planet. This is an example of how the bodhisattva sees the creation and destruction of all dharmas, right? If you have been listening to science and scientists who by and large describe what they see with their senses, those scientists have been saying to us, our planet is in trouble. What do they pay attention to? Things like melting of ice caps. The thing that our planet, in our planetary system, in our solar system, from Sun to Mercury to Venus to Earth to Mars to Jupiter to Saturn to Uranus to Neptune to Pluto, and then the asteroids. That's our own solar system. What Earth has that others don't is water. We have water. And that water, most of it is frozen. A tiny percentage, like a single-digit percentage of the water on the Earth is drinkable to humans, potable. Most of the water on the Earth is tied up in stuff like permafrost. And the North Pole and the South Pole in places like Greenland and Iceland, right? Scientists have been telling us, people like NASA, trust them? They put humans on the moon and brought them back. They're pretty trustworthy. They're civil servants. Your taxes pay their salary. They're not getting rich on their knowledge. They have been saying, the planet is dying. Pay attention. The ice caps are melting. When the ice caps melt, our life will change. They've been saying it for years, right? And they were right. So when we see now, the latest report is that the thaw every year in the northern hemisphere, we're down in the southern hemisphere. Every year in the northern hemisphere, there's a date when the accumulation of ice stops and the melting of ice starts. This year it was a month sooner than it has been before. And the ice is moving. So what do we do about that? This bodhisattva has been paying attention, and he sees the reports from people who are entrusted to know these things. Thank goodness somebody's paying attention and measuring it. And they say red, light, alert, warning, trouble, pay attention. One of the dharmas that is being destroyed is the earth. That's our only one. That's our only home. There isn't a planet we can all move to when this one, the ice melts. And that water changes. So, okay, you get the point. This bodhisattva is watching and listening. It's not news. It's been in the newspaper. It's always on, section D, and a small column. Doomsday clock used to be, right? Doomsday clock. And it ticked, ticked, ticked towards midnight, which was doomsday. It's not new. Using the unobstructed wisdom of phrasing, the bodhisattva sets forth dharmas and teaches them without stop, because he is tuned in to one particular experience called dukkha, suffering, misery, pain, dismay, and the things that arise from suffering, dukkha, pain, and dismay, like weeping and sobbing, grief, despair. He wants to reduce that. That was the Buddha's original project, was, can suffering end? Yes. He discovered it can. And then he passed on the knowledge. So this bodhisattva is setting forth those dharmas as he can when he has the opportunity to share what he knows about how suffering can end. Okay, last one of number three. This is number 3. Whatever he sets forth, he explains limitlessly in a way that cannot be refuted. Look at that. Why? Is it because he's some monster of debate? No, he's clear about principles that he sees in his own nature. This is not rocket science, is that the word? It's not obscure. It's not privileged knowledge. It's not a certain priest class that has access to the text that nobody else can until you pay them or something. Not. He knows these things, she knows these things because she sees them in her nature through her meditation and her samadhi. And then she compares them to the Buddha's description of it, sure enough. So how could you not, you can explain it the same way you can explain your breakfast this morning, because it's now part of you, right? You swallowed it, it's there. Okay, next one, moving on, 4. What is it? Unobstructed wisdom of dharmas knows the differences among present dharmas. Unobstructed wisdom of meanings, differences among past and future dharmas. The bodhisattva is a historian. How does that work? Simply remembers. Remembers what he, her, himself, herself witnessed, and further remembers how the Buddha described it, and the generations of men and women who follow the Sangha, who record their experiences using these methods. So, present dharmas, past dharmas, future dharmas can be explained, can be communicated. Well, in the past, when we did that, this happened. You're going to do it again? What do you think is going to happen? Probably the same thing. Oh, yeah, that happened, didn't it? Well, we'll find a way to, it's all right, pick yourself up, it's all right. We'll try again. Wisdom of experience, right? So, phrasing speaks to errors of past, present, and future dharmas. This bodhisattva says the precepts are there to help us avoid huge pitfalls on the road to bodhi. You want to walk in a pit, fall in a pit? Ooh, when was the last time you drove your car over a pothole and it was so deep that your tire hit halfway and all the tie rods and the suspension went and you know your car took a major injury, right? That's a pothole, that's an obstacle. The Buddha said, if you try to meditate and you still kill with intention, try to meditate and you steal with a hard heart, try to meditate and you cheat on your promises to partners, you try to meditate and you tell lies, you know what happens when you meditate? Chaos inside, internal chaos. Your mind is like that, and you stop. Avoid those things, and when you meditate, everything connects. Everything knits together in samadhi, this beautiful synergy of body, mouth, mind, soul, spirit, samadhi. Using unobstructed wisdom of le shuo, delight in speaking, speaks clearly, limitlessly, notice, in every world, it says, which is cool. 5, next one, coming along. First one, dharmas, knows the differences among dharmas. We've heard that. Number 2, meaning, knows the differences among meanings. 3, unobstructed wisdom of phrasing, look at this, speaks according to beings' vocal sounds. Now, we translated it, is it Yinsheng, I guess? Because why? Here, as I said, this is the bodhisattva's career in cultivation, career as a great Dharma master, right? What is he good at now? Languages. But vocal sounds, because why? It's not limited to human languages. Here the bodhisattva is brushing up on the sounds that he or she is going to make in order to communicate. Wisdom of phrasing works both ways. You study not only how to say it in your familiar language, you learn how to say it in other languages. So I'm gonna, let's see, do number 4. Using the unobstructed wisdom of delight in speech, he speaks according to beings' vocal sounds directly to their dopamine center, right? So that as soon as they hear it, they go, oh, yes, I want that. That's perfect. Couldn't be better. Yes, please, right? Yeah. Hand a kid an ice cream cone and watch, right? Oh, I have 2 species of birds in my yard here, both of whom delight in veggie ham. Soy protein isolate flavored in Taiwan with vegetarian ham flavor. These birds, particularly the currawongs, will, just before lecture, I tossed a chunk of veggie ham to my resident kookaburra, and the currawong intercepted it in midair, grabbed it out of the air as if it were a firefly, and took off and gobbled it down and looked for more. Oh my goodness, what their minds delight in, that flavor their minds delight in. So let's go back to the being's vocal sounds. I want to share something with everybody, which is the UC Berkeley Peregrine Cam. Oh my goodness. Yes, I confess I am a sucker for bird behavior. I really enjoy watching birds go through their family dynamics. And there are peregrine falcons, which were 2 families from extinct UC Berkeley, Berkeley, spell it right, peregrine, there it is right there. Okay, I'm gonna show you this so you later on your own can go check it out. There we go. There it is. What has happened is, this is the 3rd year in a row, a pair of nesting peregrine falcons have chosen, oh, she's eating, have chosen the UC Berkeley campanile, the bell tower, to raise a brood of peregrine falcon chicks. And this is the third year, and the couple, whose name are Anne and Grinnell, is the male, have given birth to 3 eggs, laid 3 eggs, only 2 hatched, and it looks like the third one won't. But 3 days ago, 72 hours ago, they, 36 plus 24, they hatched. So there are 2 baby peregrine falcon fluff balls on the top of the UC Berkeley bell tower, and the local Golden Gate Recreation Falcon Watch group and the UC Berkeley ornithological friends put a video cam right there on the bell tower, so you can watch these skillful falcon parents raise their kids. And you're right on time. It's just they've only been breathing for 3 days. And you can watch the dad come in and do what falcons do, feed red meat from a bird they have just swooped out of the air, feed that to their chicks, and the chicks go cheep, cheep, cheep. 2 out of 3. You can see the tragic third egg there cracked. And it's quite wonderful. I just wanted to share that with you. I'm going to turn that off now. Here is the link right there, if anybody is interested. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check your chat box there. Click on it. So best thing to do, go into YouTube and type in UC Berkeley peregrine cam, or falcon cam, that's it. Falcon camera, wildlife camera, there it is. Okay, why did I bring that up? Well, it's fascinating. It's very calming as well to watch the mom sit on her chicks and wait for the dad to bring some food back and then feed them. I heard a podcast of the two spokespersons for the Golden Gate National Recreation Raptor team and the UC Berkeley Falcon, 2 experts being interviewed by the editor of Berkeley Side, our local newspaper in Berkeley. And hearing these 2 men who have done this over and over again describe and then imitate the voices of the falcons, the mother and the father were sitting on the eggs for weeks, and they took turns. And one of the experts said, okay, when the dad comes in and it's his turn, he goes, wheat chop, wheat chop, wheat chop. And he made the sound that the male makes to say to the female, I'm here to take over. And then the female makes the sound back, and then they bow to each other. They acknowledge the duty turned over, egg duty, right? Nesting duty, brood duty. And the female flies away and goes out, stretches her wings, hunts, and the dad squats down on top of the eggs. And it's quite wonderful to watch. So here's the bodhisattva speaking according to beings' vocal sounds. And watching the peregrine falcons, you can hear what these, the world's fastest bird, definitely raptors. They are, if you're a pigeon in Berkeley and there are peregrines living nearby, your life is in danger, right? They are meat-eating birds. But to be able to share in the Dharma realm of animals and be face-to-face with their sounds, you realize the scope of the bodhisattva's compassion. Falcons. The bodhisattva would be right in there speaking falcon to maybe ask them if they wouldn't mind eating veggie pigeon. Veggie pigeon? Could they feed their kids with veggie pigeon? Could you imagine a vegetarian peregrine falcon? Nope, not really, not gonna happen. Because there's not enough vegetarian restaurants in Berkeley to feed them, right? They would have to have a pretty wide support net before they could make it to adulthood as a falcon. Anyway, things you learn by listening to people talk, such things as in 1970, there was a concern. In the 70s, there was a concern that peregrine falcons were vanishing from California. So ornithologists and graduate students from campus and all did a survey of all of California and just all the places where falcons had been witnessed, had been watched before, had been seen. And what they discovered was, of all the hot spots that gave shelter and environment and habitat to falcons, there were 2 nesting pairs left in California. Peregrines occur nationwide, but in California there were 2 left. And they identified the cause of the problem, which was DDT. DDT is a chemical that was sprayed to kill insects, particularly mosquitoes. And it thinned the shells of the birds, of their eggs. It thinned the eggshells in the nests, and no more chicks were coming out. So the ornithologists in charge of the survey grabbed the last 2 breeding pairs, helped them give birth in captivity, and then released the chicks out into the wild again after stopping DDT, thanks to Rachel Carson's book Silent Spring, among other things. So since that awareness of the problem and the measures taken by scientists, bless their hearts, to remedy the situation, there have been 800 successful chicks raised since the 70s, year after year after year, and now they're back. And peregrine falcons are not, I don't know if they're critical, if they're endangered, if they're threatened or whatever, but they're back. And UC Berkeley has, the bell tower, the campanile, has successfully bred its 3rd brood now, this year, and you can watch them, you can see them on YouTube. They're also on Facebook, Berkeley Falcon Cam, I think it's called. Type that in and you'll see it. They're wonderful. And I was watching before lecture as I was preparing, and I heard a bell tower concert. You get an extra bonus if you turn into the Berkeley set of falcons, because you can hear the bell tower ring every hour. It's quite nice. The falcons don't seem to mind at all. Okay, so our bodhisattva is being eloquent, and here he is using living beings' vocal sounds, wee chop, as the parents switch nesting patrol. Okay, moreover, with unobstructed wisdom of dharmas, he uses dharma wisdom to know that, oh my, differences are not different. What does that sound like? This is phase 6. What is phase 6? The prajna phase. Emptiness has happened to the bodhisattva's ability to meditate. Emptiness teaches him that the differences that his wisdom of dharmas before identified now brings it all back, unified in their fundamental emptiness of any distinct nature. But because it's prajna, look at number 2, wisdom of meanings. He can compare them and know the differences that are really there. Wait, isn't that a contradiction with what I just said? Prajna wisdom has the 2nd level of truth operating now. At the 6th interval, at the 6th phase, the 6th paramita, the 6th practice, the 6th ground, the 6th stage, at that point, ultimate wisdom is at work, along with conventional, provisional wisdom. What does provisional, conventional wisdom show the bodhisattva? All the differences, all the leaves. What does ultimate wisdom, ultimate truth, Paramartha Satya in Sanskrit, versus Samvritti Satya? It shows him the roots. Now the bodhisattva can go from root to leaf to branch tip in the same mind effortlessly. Why? He needs both to teach. Okay? So at the sixth phase, we borrow the Buddha's and Bodhisattva's wisdom that integrates everything back to unity, empties it out without obstructing its presence in all the distinctions made by discriminating knowledge. So what's the phrase? They say, wonderful existence does not obstruct true emptiness, and true emptiness doesn't get in the way of wonderful existence. It's empty like a vacuum and everything returns. It's empty and everything is there. So this is now functioning like a heartbeat in the bodhisattva's ability to use eloquence to teach. Oh boy, cool. He can say a lot now. 3, worldly wisdom, he can speak with differences. Bodhisattva can say it a million ways so you can understand it. And with the joy in speech, he uses wisdom in the primary sense to speak expediently. What is that? Again, sixth phase, what can he do? He's emptied the self. And he's emptied dharmas. 我空法空, right? Self is empty of any inherently unique, special, eternally so distinction. He empties that out, and he empties out the self. It's a constructed self. He can teach it in ways that people can hear it. That's the skill. If they can't hear it, he'll say it another way, right? Not always using lots of words either, which is neat. Sometimes silence, sometimes gesture, sometimes dance, sometimes just a tone, right? A sound. That's all the bodhisattva needs to, or sound of a breaking teacup is all that's required to make sense, to make it work. Okay, number 7, we're almost there to what we read. We did 8 today. What is it? Look at the bolded text. Back to number 1, dharmas. What does he see? He sees that dharma's unified attributes can't be destroyed. They're non-created nature, for example. Unobstructed wisdom of meanings. He knows the skillful expedient means born of phase 6, conditioned arising, pratitya samutpada, the 12 links, to explain what? Body and mind, realms of rebirth, realms of the senses, realms of sense objects, the locations, and the Four Noble Truths. Locations are object, sense and object, organ and object. He can explain these what? The Buddha's tools for understanding reality. Okay, this came up today in meditation class here in the Gold Coast. We were talking about what you learn when you start to meditate. Mindfulness is hot now. A lot of people interested in looking in, which is super. What is your intention when you come to meditate? Why are you here? And this morning we sketched a whole spectrum. Beginners come in, maybe seeking peace of mind, maybe unhappy with depression, maybe ready to let go of medication and needing some inner strength. Maybe somebody dragged them along, they said it's better than yoga, or it's the next step after yoga. Use it together with yoga. So they came. Okay, there's that group. Then go across the spectrum. I describe the state of the Chan Hall at Zhenru Si, Yunjishan, where meditation Marines never leave the Chan Hall. They wrap up their legs with blankets and their robes and sit and boom, enter samadhi, hours, hours, hours and hours and hours. They might leave the Chan Hall for half an hour per week to go out and do some laundry or to read a letter, but that's it. And they're meditating too. They're just like the beginners who just set foot in the meditation hall for the first time. What's in between? Intention is in between. No matter whether you're a brand new beginner or a Lao Xiuxing, you're a experienced cultivator, if you are following the Buddha, which is one way to go, there's lots of other meditation techniques, the Buddha is going to give both groups of people and everybody in between the same knowledge, which is what? Here's the body, here's the mind. You are going to meet these aspects on the map of meditation. When you look into the mind, you are going to discover eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And that mind divides into what? Well, there's the sixth consciousness, there's the seventh consciousness, there's the eighth consciousness, and when they transform, they become three different kinds of wisdom. Meanwhile, there's eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body, which is another kind of wisdom transformed. Welcome to the mind. The eyes see sights and consciousness knows the difference. So forth to the mind. 18 realms. There's sense and sense object. Don't attach to them. They arise from nowhere. They're not you. Let them go. Oh, the locations. The truths. Suffering can end. Here's the path to the end of suffering. Eightfold. Wow. You go, yeah, thank you, Buddha, for giving me the lay of the land. Putting the map in my hands as I embark on this practice of meditation. Then the stuff comes up. That's the map, but what about the territory? Oh, meet your karma. Clean your closet. Plow your garden. Weed your garden. The weeds come up out of the garden, mixing my metaphors all over the place. Let's stick with a garden metaphor. You say, I'm going to make a garden out of that side lot. Okay, you get in there with your shovel and your rake and your backhoe and your rototiller and your amendments and your water and your, finally you can plant some seeds. But boy, in the process of turning a vacant lot into a garden, a lot of stuff came out of the ground. Are you able to deal with the stuff that comes out? The rocks, the broken glass, the spare tires, the twigs, the weeds, the bones. Ooh, what's buried there? The Buddha also gave us tools for dealing with greed, anger, delusion, pride, doubt, jealousy, rage, anxiety, attachment. All the things that are under the ground, invisible under the mind ground, but so important. And everybody's got them. If the Buddha didn't teach us how to deal with that stuff, would we quit? Probably. I'm a bad meditator. All I could think about was how I lied to her and she went away brokenhearted. That was my meditation today. Ooh. Welcome to the mind, right? And that's this life. So how neat to have the Buddha explain what can happen and how to deal with it. We ran out of time this morning in meditation class. I only brought up one of my stories about jealousy and didn't even get to the cleaning of it, the clearing of it, the healing of it. So we have to continue next week. But this is why the bodhisattva, the great Dharma master, wants to know how to talk. Because he can help. He can guide people who said, I want to do what the Buddha did, or just even figure out my mind. I want to stop being a jerk. And I think meditation can help. Good, welcome, come, sit. Here's what you might try. As stuff comes up, try this. Oh, it worked. Oh, good. What else? Go deeper. Now I've got some samadhi going, some stillness. What else? Boy, samadhi brings its own level of troubles, right? Because you're really transforming the mind at that point. You're getting close to the monks at Janrusu. They're, the meditation Marines. So, right, okay. The wisdom of meanings, the Bodhisattva talks about what you're going to meet when you meditate. And then what happens once you start doing it. With the unobstructed wisdom of phrasing, the Bodhisattva speaks wonderful sounding words and phrases that are easy for living beings, ordinary beings to understand. Thank you. Get it out of Chinglish into English. The Buddha can speak English. Unobstructed wisdom, delight in speaking, uses ever more supreme, limitless Dharma to explain clearly, which brings us to today. Okay. I'm going to shut down my document here where I reprint it and go back to our text, okay? Everybody in Berkeley and here in the Gold Coast, we're back to our text today. Okay. Constantly develops 4 kinds of unobstructed wisdom. Up. Wrong one. 72. 73. We're on 73 pages. Moreover, unobstructed wisdom of dharmas knows the impartial nature of the unified vehicle. Unobstructed wisdom of meanings knows different nature of all vehicles. Unobstructed wisdom of phrasing explains how vehicles are not different. Unobstructed wisdom of delight in speaking expresses the boundless dharmas of each vehicle. Okay, what is this? You might call this the interfaith eloquence, interfaith wisdom, or the intra-Buddhist healing wisdom. Same 4 as always: dharmas, meaning, phrasing, delight in speech. What is it? First one, he knows the impartial nature of the one vehicle. Replace one with unified or unitary or unifying vehicle. What is it? Buddhahood. Again, this first one is always in, right? He looks within, sees this bodhisattva is really close to Buddhahood. Pretty same kind of wisdom there. At the 10th stage, not much difference. And what does he see? Buddhahood is the Dharma body, is the reward body, is the transformed bodies. Everything fits within. Like what? Empty space contains everything. There's nothing outside of space, including other galaxies. Likewise, Buddhahood, the Buddha vehicle. Why vehicle? It's not a 4-wheeled vehicle. It's not it is. That's the sheng, is the word in Chinese. But think about it as a means to get somewhere, where you want to go. That's what it means. A vehicle carries us from here to here. Buddhahood includes everything. It's impartial. That's unobstructed wisdom of dharmas. He sees that. Number 2, what does he see? He sees there are many different vehicles. There are recreational vehicles. There are SUVs. There are, by golly, airplanes. There are steamships, luxury cruisers, right? There are skateboards. I got an e-bike, vehicles, wheels, right? But there's also, dog carts. Hook up your large doggy to your skateboard and have him pull you. Then he sees another dog and he jerks away and you. So different vehicles, what are they? They all have different natures. Some people are interested in liberation for themselves. They want to enter nirvana now. What do we want? Nirvana. When do we want it? Now. Okay. There's a vehicle for that. Others say, we're all connected. If I go first, I haven't really gone. I couldn't realize nirvana knowing that my mom and my mom of past lives is still coming back and suffering. So I'm going to get a really big vehicle that takes everybody. Different, bodhisattva. Okay. He can know how they're all the same and they're different. There we go. There's that heartbeat again, right? It's not a lie. It's not a contradiction. It's truth. Paradox is implicit in existence. Day and night, yin and yang, sun and moon, male and female, Coke and Pepsi, right? The unobstructed wisdom of phrasing, he explains how all vehicles are not different. Here we go again. Contradictions. They're different, but they're not different. Why? Because he's going to explain that they're all traveling. They're all carrying us. And we're on the road to interfaith, intra-Buddhist faith. Finally, he goes to the boundless dharmas of each vehicle. How every, fundamentally, there's not one thing where can dust a light. Why do you need so many vehicles? Well, I thought I'd open up a used vehicle lot, a little money on the side. Could I interest you in a used vehicle? Got a deal for you. It's only driven by an elderly bodhisattva with white hair around the block once a week. Would you buy a used vehicle from this monk? So, the boundless dharmas of each vehicle, the bodhisattva can explain them in ways that bring them all back and erase the conflict. Get us to a harmony of intent where we say, doesn't everybody want to go home? Finally, aren't we all looking for Dad to tell us that it's going to be okay? Yep. Wouldn't that be great that we could recognize in everyone that longing for reunion, for integration? Maybe it's wanting to get back in the womb. I don't know. What do you think? If we all have that memory, if we're in a human body, we all came from there, and that's when the trouble began, right? Back in mom's belly, it was pretty good. She made all the decisions for us. Yeah, but we all came out, and I'm trying to figure it out ever since, right? Okay, so those vehicles are for getting us back. Why argue among dharmas? Why fight among religions? No need. Why fight among Buddhists? No need, right? So, okay. At this point, I'm going to ask our translators to switch over to the PDF. I'm going to switch over to the PDF, which is this one right here. And says a kind heart. Here's one of those wonderful phrases. 慈无量心. A measureless, beyond measuring, an attitude of kindness that goes beyond measuring, infinite great kindness. And the Chinese say, 无缘大慈, kindness even for strangers. No affinity, great kindness. Kindness even for those with whom you have no particular connection. That's real kindness, they say. 同体大悲，无缘大慈. What is great compassion is you see the same body. We're identical. Identical body, great compassion, kindness even for those with whom you have no connection prior. That's real kindness, not just your kin, your clan, your relatives. What do they say? 慈能娱乐. Kindness gives happiness. That's a bodhisattva with eloquence. His words can make you happy. Her words delight the ear and the heart. Okay, I thought, here's why I wanted to share these. What is eloquence? Eloquence isn't always lots of words. Sometimes it's just the right word. Right? One of my favorite musicians is known for playing a single chord. And he plays that chord. And he thumps on the chord. Strum, 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 strum. Plays that chord. And somebody said, "What, you only play that? How come you only play that one chord?" He says, "Because I got a good one. I got the right one." So sometimes it's the right words. That is the measure of eloquence. Look at Lu Fu Huang. He says, around this lonely mountaintop, myriad peaks revolve. I've come to cultivate ascetics' disciplined resolve. I take my broom, I sweep away the deer's tracks in the snow. The deer pass by, but in the morning, hunters will not know. The kind-hearted hermit. 万风回绕一风生，到此常修苦信心。自烧雪中归路迹，天明空有猎人寻。Right? This is the kind-hearted hermit. What a beautiful, just the right words. What is he? Look at him. There he is. The deer leaves tracks in the snow. The hermit knows that if the hunters see that, they'll be after him with their bows and arrows, their guns, kill the deer. So he goes out with his broom and sweeps the tracks. Yeah, that's nice. What is eloquence in phrasing? Poetry. Poetry. I wanted to share with everybody some veggie poetry. Poem for lovers. Let's look at the Chinese first. First the Chinese. Here we go. This is Bai Juyi. Bai Juyi from the Tang Dynasty, a good Buddhist, by the way. And it's Poem for Lovers of Fish. 绕池先走看鱼游，正知儿童弄钓舟，一种爱与心各异，我来施时而吹高。Beautiful poetry. I walked at leisure by the pond to watch the fish afloat, and passed two youths with bait and rods in their fishing boat. With different hearts we take delight in watching perch and trout. I have come to feed the fish. They've come to fish them out. Right? Just the right word. Doesn't have a lot of chords, just the right ones. I got a good one. I got a good chord. Who needs more? There's Bai Ju, right? He likes to watch the fish. They like to fish them out. Okay, just a reminder here. Okay, here's a Chan monk. Fang Sheng Shi. Buddhists have this practice called liberating life, liberating the living. And it's controversial because sometimes the animals you liberate get bought up, get caught again and resold. Other times you liberate the animal in the wrong environment, the wrong habitat, and it dies. So it's good that people are thinking about liberating life. But right animals, right place, nobody making a profit on it. It's a wholesome opportunity to practice kindness because you give a second chance at life to critters that were destined for the stew pot. 极父王洛遭坤阿，降头烫火，受尽中。临幸欲测，恩无极，彼受龙息而拢而受拢。Okay, very powerful Chan monk's poem. He flew into the hunter's net, caught fast in mortal harm. His painful end, the oven pot. He trembled with alarm. Condemned to die, he won reprieve. A kind act from a friend means his little life continues on and her lifespan extends. What's the principle? If we make it possible for other beings to extend their natural lifespan, we are connected, and that place where we are connected extends. Our nature is that connected place, and good karma, right? Good karma, dude. Help them live long, you live long. Shorten their lifespans, your life shortens. Okay. Oh my. Hong Yi Da Shi, our 20th century Chan monk, teaching school monk, said, look at this little humble poem. Breaks your heart. 诀别词. Goodbye. It's called Final Goodbye. 生离赏测测，临行复回首。此去不再来，念而知否。 Taste the pain of parting from one's kin. She turns her head around before she goes. This time, she won't return again. Don't you wonder if her children know? We watched the mother peregrine falcon squat for hours and hours on top of her first the eggs, then these miraculous chicks that come out. And she is giving her life to them, including sitting on the egg that didn't hatch. Oh, right? And do those kids, do the little chicks know? They know this big feathered warm thing is putting food in their mouths. They in turn become moms and dads. And sure they know. Let's do one more here. I like this one. Huang Tingjian was a prime minister in the Song dynasty court, and he was a filial son. He's one of the 24 paragons of filiality. 24 Xiao, he's one of them. This is a great direct poem, and it captured the illustration is a beautiful picture of faithful dog. 戒肉食, okay, ending the eating of meat. 我肉众生肉名殊体不殊圆通一种性只是别心躯 My flesh and creatures' flesh are different only in name. Although we come in many shapes, our nature is the same. Perfect place for our bodhisattva with eloquence here, who sees how all bodies are the same and how they're all different. Right? Two sentences, two contradict. Nope. He has prajna wisdom. He sees through the surface to the principle within. What does he see? Look at this. Faithful dog is looking, he only cares about his master's expression, and the master has the 1,000-foot stare in the 50-foot room, right? Realizing that the dog and he are not different. DNA says so. DNA research, you sequence the genome and you discover that grubs, mealworms, and humans are only different by a little tiny bit. Okay, we are looking at examples of eloquence from just a few words. A whole world of feeling and experience is revealed. That's real eloquence. So, by golly, our time has come. We are going to finish up the 10 examples of eloquence, and then we're going to get to that part that I am excited about. I previewed it to everybody 2 weeks ago and said we're coming to the part of the 9th stage, which is truly wonderful, talking about my mind, your mind. Once this kind of cultivation has been applied to it, what you can do, how you can communicate. It's staggering and believable. All right, look at my desktop. This is Buddha Root Farm. I think it's 2017. I love black and white photography, right? This is the trail just before the bridge as we go down to lunch. This is the Oregon coastal woods and our lunch group going down the mountain. I stayed behind to get the photo from the back. Buddha Root Farm is nearly full. If you had any thought that you might want to attend the 2019 Buddha Root Farm summer camp in the Oregon woods, act today, because it's going to fill up real soon. And where do we go to do that? We go to, bring my browser back up. Here we go. We go to Oregon, no www, Oregon.Berkeley Monastery. And Telstra is going to pop up. Okay. Try it again. Oregon.BerkeleyMonastery.org. When you do that, this page arrives. Oh, registration is now full as we speak. You can join the wait list. There we go. I was going to tell you to hurry, but in fact, it's full. People do change their minds. There we go. Wonderful experience. Here's the bird. It's now, as you know, night in Berkeley. There's mom on the eggs under the infrared cams. There she is, faithful mom. Okay, go to UC Berkeley Campanile Peregrine Cam, or go to Facebook, Cal Falcon Cam. to get you there. All right, by golly. Jin Chuan Shi, Jin Wei Shi, Jin Fo Shi, do you have any announcements for us? I can't hear. Can everybody hear? Ah, there we go. Yes, now I can. Two to 4 open house for parents and children at BBM. Yeah. Puppet shows, mindfulness teachings, cooking class, and calligraphy. Sounds like fun. Bring your kids. If you don't have kids, you can't come. Borrow one. Go rent a kid. Yeah. Good. Okay. That was a no? No? Okay. June 16th, Northern California family camp, Buddhist family camp. More puppet shows, more songs. Yep. Okay, Professor Verhoeven's, I'm going to repeat because your voice is too quiet. Professor Verhoeven's Sixth Patriarch Sutra lectures, last class before the semester break, next Friday. June 29 and 30th, important event at UC Berkeley. Global Buddhist Forum, yeah. Yeah. Yes, we are co-hosting. Ajahn Brahm will be there. Imi Uri will be there. I'll be there. Berkeley Monastery. Yep. Most of the East Bay Buddhist community will be showing up. It's going to be a big deal. Okay, we have, yes, more? Sudana retreat, June 22nd to 29th, 1 week, with Heng Sure, Fa Shi, and Doug Powers, right? Okay, you can find that information at DRBU, I know, drbu.org. Does our Berkeley Monastery website have that info yet? I don't know. We'll have to look. Okay, great. All right, good. Lots of stuff going on. Here in the Gold Coast, for those of you who are paying attention to the events here, we have a refuge and precepts ceremony scheduled for May 12th. May 12th. Anybody who wants to take the next step into commitment as a Buddhist practitioner is welcome to join in. All righty. Can we transfer the merit now? And I think you there in Berkeley will have it in your songbook or on your Dharma request sheet, we here in the Gold Coast will bring up, there it is right there. All right. And we have a lovely amplified guitar sound here. Please make a wish. An appropriate place to transfer merit, if you have no other place to do, would be to the folks in Sri Lanka who experienced massive tragedy. And where is the illness? Probably in invisible places, in the soul and the heart, where that kind of fear and violence grows when the light of wisdom and kindness doesn't shine in there. So dedication of merit is like light. It shines light in those places and people's hearts can melt when the time is right. So let's send out that goodness. Here we go. Reliving be our minds as one and radiant with love. Share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find it giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, see you all next week. Aum Tofo. Bye-bye.